Hello and welcome to Only Stupid Answers, spoiler-filled review of the newest episode of Doom Patrol, episode 106, Doom Patrol Patrol.
Love it.
Thank you for joining us, DJ Waldrich, Roxy Stryer, and of course Sam Basher.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
What?
This is very exciting.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And guess what, gang? You can join the party as well over at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. If you click right there, you can join us every Thursday, 3:30 p.m. PST, right on patreon.com/onlystupidanswers for Super TV Showdown. That's the show where we review Flash,
Yes.
Arrow,
Yes.
Supergirl,
Yes.
Black Lightning,
Yeah.
Gotham,
Yeah.
Gifted, Inhumans. I can't name it anymore.
Yeah,
There's so many.
that's all of them.
R.I.P. all the Netflix Marvel shows. We talked about those too. But yes,
We got one more.
We got one more in us, and we do talk about the DC Universe
is it?
shows.
Jessica
And
Jones.
The last season.
Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
The final countdown. But yes, let's talk about Doom Patrol Patrol. Following a clue left by Mr. Nobody, Jane, Larry, and Rita visit a school where Niles' previous team of heroes, the original Doom Patrol, have retired. Meanwhile, Cliff and Vic tenuously bond over their mutual father issues.
We got daddy
is
issues.
That tenuously?
Yeah.
Nice. Good $5 word, Sam. I nailed it. Thanks, everybody. So, overview. Roxy, may I start with you? What did you think of this episode? The past two episodes 4 and 5, you've been lukewarm on.
Yeah,
Luke Wilson warm on.
I was definitely back. And I think that although I didn't like this episode necessarily as much as episode 2, which is my favorite so far, or 1, 2, and 3, I was lost in 4 and 5 as a fan. Not lost, confused, lost, like I was falling out of it.
Ain't your cup of joe.
And so I'm so happy that this one pulled me back in enough. It was a little more normal. It didn't, normal for this show at least. It didn't push the boundaries as much. There weren't as many talking cockroaches and horses and singing and whatnot. But I think it was a character building episode, and I needed that. And I was happy with Jane this episode, which I had worried about previously. So because of those reasons, this really worked for me.
I am a huge fan of this show. I've been just honestly, I know like there's been some ebbs and flows between the opinions on the table, but genuinely, this show has been it's been like A- to A+ throughout the whole thing, and that stays the same for this episode. But DJ, what did you think?
I enjoyed this episode because I've enjoyed every episode. That said, I think of the episodes we've seen, I would be interested in revisiting this one the least, just because it felt the most standard, like kind of like, there's this problem and it's not the problem we think it is, but you know what I mean. It felt less inventive than prior episodes. But for me, like the last two episodes were like way my cup of tea. So it's different tastes for different people. I think that's really cool. And we also get the original Doom. Well, this
original Doom Patrol.
This reality's version of the original Doom Patrol, which includes Mento and them seeing the classic costumes and all that stuff, which was fun. And also, this episode has by far the best joke the show has ever had, and maybe the best TV joke this year.
What was it?
Who is Animal Vegetable Mineral Man and his failed robbery.
Yeah.
Because it was like, because when he came out of that booth like 2 episodes ago, the Velociraptor, you're like, it doesn't seem like they're on the same page right now, and they clearly aren't whatsoever. That was so genuinely funny.
I like that his
Why does
first
he have
thought,
a name? Why did she was like, oh, clearly everyone's familiar with Animal Vegetable Mineral Man.
Yeah, and why looking at that person would that be your go-to? Like, oh, that's what we're going to call this guy. No, I love that his thought after coming out and having these superpowers, he's like, rob a convenience store. First thing, and did the raptor had a stocking on its head too, right? Didn't the raptor he had a stocking on his head? Didn't the raptor also have a stocking on his head?
It was hard for me to tell. I was watching on my phone. That's usually the easiest for me to watch is my phone.
It did?
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so funny, and I hope we get an episode of this guy on trial. Remember in like what is it, Cable Guy, where they keep cutting back to the trial? Like I hope we keep cutting back to this guy throughout the series and just the travails. Like maybe he tries to get married. You know what I mean? He becomes like a top tabloid star.
Who was the showrunner for Walking
Kardashian.
Dead for the first season? Frank Darabont.
Yes.
Remember he wanted to do an episode about that one soldier. It's like, let's
Sam
get the
Witwer.
point of view of Sam Witwer's character from Walking Dead.
To the point that we had the Sam Witwer cameo in the first episode.
I want just one episode from the point of view of Animal vegetable mineral man, and it's like, and it sucks.
I don't know
man.
if they can afford it, but yes, please and thank you.
That would be great.
Suck.
Save all of your money. Another thing, moving topics, unless we want to stay on
No,
Anna,
please.
Hey, I loved it. Let's keep going.
I felt really bad for Rita for the first time in this episode.
Yeah.
I don't mean for the first time. I know turning into oatmeal sucks, but she's done some really bitchy things.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
really horrible things.
Like egregious, like maybe arguably unforgivable.
Totally unforgivable, not even arguably. But in this episode, you got a sense and a glimpse of the fact that she wants to get better and doesn't like who she is. And I always think when you add that to a character, it makes them so much more redeemable.
Yeah.
And then also, nobody likes to get hit it and quit it. And that's kind of what was happening in this situation.
With Mento?
With Mento?
Yeah.
Because the scene that was
Not
pretty...
on purpose,
that was
but-
pretty harrowing was Hollywood exec back in the 50s and him trying to get just... Oh, my God. But...
Yeah, that was great. And then, but I love the secretary actually coming
Yeah.
to her
I like
help.
that
Was
too.
such a twist I wasn't expecting because she, secretary's sitting out there and seems like annoyed with what's
Clearly
going
doesn't
on.
like Rita.
Yeah, clearly doesn't. But when she hands her blouse and is like, "You were never here."
No, he's like, it must have been a hell of a heart attack or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
heart-
like,
yeah, and that I don't know, that just touched my heart. For
Same.
some, in a really like we just saw oatmeal. The show is weird, but still that affected me moment.
Yeah, I think that goes back to a conversation we had at Patreon for Super TV with Supergirl of showing
Women
female-
help- yeah, but that's how to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this.
Yeah, show don't tell.
I didn't need her to be like, it doesn't matter that you slept with him. You're still beautiful.
Yeah.
You are so fantastic, talented.
Yeah, and nice hair.
I just wanted her to be like, I've got your back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, they don't even need to say that. It's just like,
No.
it's just leave. We
Yeah.
know, like, this is bad. And he didn't... this is better for everybody that he is not here anymore.
Oh, he was so disgusting. And looking at her saying she had no shot, and there's the whole thing. I wonder when this episode filmed and what was going on in current day. Like, obviously, the Me Too must have been in full swing, but I wonder if they knew how effective that part of the episode would have been.
I think maybe they have an idea, but it was extremely effective in terms of other shows that have been trying to do that. And also looking at it like through a sci-fi lens, I think they did a really good job with it.
Decades ago lens.
Yeah.
Like this is not new. And most
yeah.
TV shows can't show that right now because they're current day shows.
Yeah.
Which was really
I think that's might be one of the secret benefits of having their protagonists healing from different time periods.
Which, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
thank God, at a certain point in this episode, I texted you about it.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely confused of why no one ages. And I was like, oh, thank God. By the end of it, we know that the original Doom Patrol, they do not look the way that they were advertised. They are elderly. And it's just that our weird band of people, and Niles a little bit,
Yeah.
they're kind of timeless.
The only one that needs an excuse, I think, is Niles.
It's Niles.
Because because Robot Man's a brain in a tin
he
can.
did something to himself.
He must have done something to
Yeah.
himself.
'Cause he was
the poor
active
woman,
and like a strong man in the 40s.
the poor woman that thinks she's married to Niles. That is a character from the comics. She was not a very popular member of the Doom Patrol, and she'd been, I want to say, retconned a couple times of like, is she with Niles or not with Niles? And I
That was
like that
crushing.
they incorporated that into her thing in the show. But it's like, honestly, as bad as our Doom Patrol has it, the original Doom Patrol just is. Did
Did you guys realize
worse.
what was happening before we reach out and grab through Niles?
When things were because
what
of the
I'm
way
talking
things phased, there was a couple times where things like flickered. I was thinking digital, some sort of digital situation as opposed to mental projection.
Well, I mean, they teleported somewhere, so I'm like, this has to be a physical place. So I kind of figured probably Mentos, since they're focusing on someone with psychic ability so much. I like the reveal, and I love the idea of a villain just being like, hey, just so you know, like in the last episode, he like whispered this into Jane's ear. It's like, hey, when you start getting like wise and you think that you feel like you can take me on, just go look at the other Doom Patrol. And it's like, there's that fun weirdness of it where it's like, it's a big blimp that's a butt, and it's got like this jukebox that's making cops turn into piñatas and people going ravage and like eating all the candy out of them, but also like people made out of records that are
By
fighting
the way,
people.
don't tease me with that stuff and then not show it. All right.
They showed everything else.
If you talk about villains made out of vinyl records, I need to see that shit.
Money. How are we ever going to get the episode with our guy if we're spending money on that?
all the money.
Also, shout out for money in the scene where we have Rita in the trophy room of the old Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
There's a shout out to the Brain, who's the leader.
The Brain
of
is
the
there,
Brotherhood.
and also if you look at this asset behind her is Wonder Woman's God Killer sword.
Oh,
No.
from the movie. Just go head on over to the DC vault. Easy peasy.
There has been a few nods to the Brotherhood of Evil, and I'm kind of hoping that maybe that's a season 2 situation.
That's a good one to
Because
go
how
up
many
against.
episodes do we have left in this season?
A good like another
We're halfway
6 or
through?
7.
We have 7.
Wow.
7 more. It's 13 total.
Huh.
That's pretty good math.
Because I don't know what we're doing for the rest of the season still.
Yeah.
We're still trying to figure out. Basically, we need to get on board, get on the same page of if there's anything you can actually do about Mr. Nobody. I'm thinking we get one more side story that's like another Willoughby Kipling or something like that. But
We
besides
need one more
that,
side story at least because 7 episodes
kind of
is.
stretch it. But
Yeah.
I love this side story of there was a Doom Patrol. Niles has tried this before, and that's why these people are not active. That's why
Yeah.
they're not helping out because he already had this idea and it went the worst
So
it possibly
bad.
could. And Mento Man, it's I love the story of how him and Rita had a relationship at one point, and I like seeing her get to explore that. So, and also I want to ask you guys, do we think now that Rita convinced someone to kill herself? Is that what the memory that she sees?
I don't know.
What I got was that she convinced someone to kill herself, and that's what she was seeing.
You know what it probably is? It's probably she did something really mean, and that inadvertently resulted in this person killing themselves. Because
Maybe that's
that
what it
allows
is.
us. It's an interesting situation where it explains her guilt, but it's also, I mean, when somebody kills themselves, it's not your fault. It's not like you can't.
13 Reasons Why says otherwise.
Yeah, it seems
A lot
to.
of society says otherwise, honestly.
It's not. That doesn't make it her. She probably did something. She was not a good person. We've seen it. She was not a good person.
No, yeah.
She's still struggling with it to this day. But something like that, I don't really know what to expect from that.
I don't know either.
I'm very excited for the more Larry Trainer backstory that after he got out of hospital, he was hired by the government. You had crazy
Yeah.
Needlefinger.
And we don't know if
man.
was Needlefinger guy in real life. Does he have needle fingers, or is that just a vision because of the situation that's happening?
Before we move on to that, how do you guys feel about the fact that he read her mind? Is that okay?
No,
It's not okay.
specifically because he said he wouldn't.
It's not okay.
Even though he found, it's kind of like, if your significant other is cheating on you and you're not supposed to read your text, but if you read your text and you find out they're cheating on you, should you have not read their text?
See, in that situation, you don't feel. I don't feel bad for the person who got caught. I don't. feel
But
bad
what you
about
did
it.
was still wrong because you were especially
a
if you
violation of
specifically
privacy.
said you wouldn't. This
Whose
is more.
side are you on here?
This is more like you broke into your significant other's phone, found out they did something in the past that you don't like that doesn't directly relate to you in any significant way, and then still pissed off at them. It's like, wait,
Well, it
hold
seemed
on
like
a
it did
second.
relate to him, like he knew the woman.
And maybe he can feel it because he's psychic, but no, he knew her. I didn't get that.
I don't know that
I
he
don't know, I
did
got
knew her,
that vibe.
but he did react as if it was on a personal front.
Yeah.
But I also interpreted that as he didn't know the person, but he took it personally.
He felt lied to by her. Or
Yeah.
something. Okay. Huh.
We also
It was
I was-
not,
I was kinda
it's
okay.
It's a nightmare. So.
Listen, I am the number one person who always says don't check their phone. Like I've never done that. I'm not a hack into their Facebook kind of person.
No.
That being said, I was kind of okay with the fact that he read her mind, because she's been lying to him, and he could sense that.
But that she wasn't lying about, as far as I could tell,
Mm-hmm.
anything pertaining to him. It was something that happened to her, and that's something that she has to deal
All
with.
right,
and
that's
it's
true.
Not, and it's
All right,
really
you've changed my
actually
mind.
none of his business.
Yeah, okay.
It is still bad, and
Yeah.
she should deal with that. And if she is, regardless of where it is, if she's somehow responsible for the death of someone, maybe I don't know, whatever, we need to figure that out.
Okay.
But I also wanted to talk about really quick the visions that everyone else saw. We see Larry
Yeah.
seeing the needle fingers, and we see Jane in a room full of puzzles. I'm guessing the puzzle pieces have to deal with the different pieces of her personality. That's how I interpreted it.
Also,
and the hand.
Her puzzle pieces are utilized in the intro for her part of the intro
They
sequence.
are, yeah. But you see the hand,
good call.
Which
and
I think is a violator type person.
I'm getting
and that's
that,
not
too.
a name of a supervillain.
no, it's
Yeah.
not. It is a really, really tragic story for
Jane is actually when Jane looks at her room in the current mansion and there's a deadbolt on it, that actually got, I was like, that hurts. I like this picture of, as far as storytelling wise, not, I wouldn't like this in real life. I like this picture or painting of Niles. Niles is a person with very many good intentions, but is not the best, but not necessarily a good person with good follow through.
Watching their conversation about the pancakes or whatever it was.
What a weird, disturbing sequence.
I did really
Yeah.
wait. Sorry, what did you say?
But it got me back on his side a little bit.
I really like the scene.
Yeah, I don't think his intentions are not bad. He just
This
might
was more
not
than-
be a good
I
person.
think
This was more
Silas
than
says it
just-
best.
Yeah.
It was more than just not bad intentions, though. It was going out of his way to comfort somebody,
Yeah.
which I don't think we see him do a lot. It's more like tie them down and let's strap this thing on
Yeah.
in a non-sexual way,
Oh, yeah,
in a
yeah.
medical way.
But no, Silas even says, like, when he's talking to Robot Man, he's like, he consulted me for your design, and I could have made you better than Vic.
Yeah.
But Niles is an old-fashioned guy.
Yeah.
And your immortal man had to be the way you wanted it, and like he has to be indestructible and da-da-da and da-da-da, and it's like, yeah, he might have a very specific way he views the world and how to fix it, and might have the best intentions, but he doesn't.
And
he doesn't have the tools to actually make it work, and it doesn't matter to him because he's just going to do what he does.
And when he can't get something work, he shoves it into an asylum in the middle of nowhere with the caretaker guy whose abilities I don't know that I understand what those
I don't
are.
get what they are
totally
because
get
it's
that either.
Mento's the one who's doing the projection.
Yes, and then there's a third member of the Doom Patrol that I guess throws knives that we spend no time with.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know what his abilities were, but he's a good actor.
Not letting him out of that place, maybe.
No, I like the interactions with Silas. One, we get to see a lot of Cyborg's full thing, and it actually really worked for me. I thought he
Same.
looked really cool. I was a fan of that, and I like, again, same with Niles, spending time with Silas. It's like Silas. Right now we don't like Silas, but Silas might not be a completely bad guy. He might not be a completely good guy. It's complicated.
And a different guy than father, and a different, all of those things. I
Yeah.
loved the Siri. What is?
yeah.
I love that.
Can't do that every day. It's getting annoying.
And they have to go to like an old computer to find, like, because his system's not working or whatever. They have to go actually look up who the Doom Patrol is.
I still don't get why he had 2 episodes to go that freak out though.
I think the freak out may have been a little much. I think you could attribute it to that his arm just exploded.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even though his whole body got we saw what happened to him to
Yeah.
become cyborg, and it's awful.
I just thought this episode would explain a little more why, and it didn't.
What I got was that in the trauma, they're like, just don't touch it, and we can figure out what we need to do because it doesn't need to be hit right now. And it didn't automatically. It started to work on fixing him, but he's not allowed access to parts of his body. And I'm like, that is pretty bad.
His dad has to come to help him, which you've already seen. He's trying to get independent from his dad. I agree with you that it's still the freak out. It seems
Agreed.
disproportionate, but he has to have his dad come, and he's trying to get away from his dad. Also, more of his arm is now robotic, which is what you mentioned last week. So every time he hits that button, he becomes a little bit less of a person, which is a nightmare. And so it's like, I think that even though I thought the acting of the freak out was really well done, the justification for it, it's like, I don't know if I would have
acting
freaked
was
out.
great.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have freaked out that much.
Same, but I did like Silas and Cliff talking with each other, and I like Cliff's story of him trying to figure out how he can get in contact with his daughter, and also the twist. It's like, of course she was adopted. You would want that, and
Exactly.
I know this is drama being like drawn out for a couple episodes, but this is gonna be a weird conversation for you to have out of anybody.
First one, I'm a robot. Second, I'm still around, sort of. Yeah. I like
What in the comics is Cyborg's situation with relationships?
It's actually not that. I mean, you can maybe attest to some of it for like older storylines, but when it comes to relationships, like romantic wise, it's not. There's not a lot there. In more recent comics, he's had like someone that he's dated. It was like Lady Cyborg. It was a really dumb character.
Most famously, I think he's with Bumblebee, but I'm trying to remember if that's more from the comics or more from the Titans cartoon.
And the Titans cartoon, I feel like, because
They
Bumblebee
definitely-
and Mal get together. Who is
Oh, that's right.
who is not Oracle? He is. Who's the guy who blows
Fox
the
or
trumpet?
something?
Who blows
Oh,
the trumpet?
yeah.
In Titans,
Yeah.
in Teen Titans the cartoon. Anyways, Mal is somebody else that they've worked with. So it's kind of tough. He's usually been
kind of-
alone.
Honestly, I think this is outside of the Teen Titans stuff. This has been the best fleshing out of
Cyborg.
Cyborg we've gotten. Like, I really like this performance.
So they can kind of make it up as they go if they want.
And
They
hopefully
really can.
comics
Yeah.
follow suit because he's a very good actor, and I like the way they're writing this character right now. I like his relationship. The biggest one is what's being explored in the show. It's him and his dad.
Yeah.
And it's toxic and it's confusing and it's complicated because his dad's kind of a dick, but he still loves his son. So it's like, and I like that he ended up as like, you are in privacy mode. I'm going to respect that. Because he needs to. I think that ruling might not stick for a while, but I do like that conversation that they had. So
Agreed. And I continue to like his dynamic with Robot Man just because of them literally representing different
Robot
generations.
Boys.
Yeah.
Robot Boys.
Boom.
Here's my high five.
Robot Boys. There
Boom.
it is.
Boom.
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 I'm a robot person too.
And I like the tease that there could be an updated Robot Man body. I think that we do get a tease of that. Like, we could still, like, Silas and Niles could come together and make him something that would be better. And I really want to see that.
Also,
like eyebrows or a moving mouth.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting the way this show is being smart and utilizing. It's almost like they let all of their characters be Wolverine in that there's a huge chunks of time that are unaccounted for with these characters. So yeah, of course, we're assuming, I assumed at least, Negative Man got fried in space and then he started hanging out with Niles. There could have been decades before, in between those things, that a ton of stuff happened that I have no idea about. And that's true of almost every character in the show.
I think
Except Robot Man, we saw he was just standing in a room.
Yeah, the only time
he was just standing in a room.
I think the late 80s is when everyone was there and together. Jane, though, it was the most I connected with her in this episode. You guys complimented her performance, and I do too. I really enjoyed the way we got to explore her storyline, and the way that she understands that she like respects herself and all of her other personalities.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that aspect of her, but also she can identify that like this is a problem. You are a hazard to the people around you, and that's not true for like all like mental illnesses, but because hers are attributed to omega level superpowers.
And
this is
it's so
scary.
extreme, yeah.
So extreme. It's not just hot and cold. It's like the Arctic. It's like vacuum of space or the surface of the sun. Like there is no in between with her. So I get that. I like that she was able to kind of internalize that as well. And we're able to see her grow and change throughout that.
Agreed.
Agreed.
For
Sure. Any final thoughts?
Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man, his one head bit his other head while he was trying to rob a bank, and it was hilarious.
It was
they just got to go back to it because it was so funny.
It was so good. I'm a big fan. Roxy, what would you rate this episode out of Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man's?
I'm giving it 8.
Pretty good.
Yeah, so I'm back.
You're back?
I'm back, baby.
I'm going to give it an 8 as well.
Nice.
I'm going to give it an 8 as well, yeah.
I give it an 8.5. I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than you guys. I'm so on board with this, and I really hope I'm not like hyping it up for myself. Like this show's perfect, and then next episode and so on, it all just goes downhill.
You
I
giving
think
it an
won't,
8.5, I think, is your lowest rating yet.
I super enjoy this show.
Same.
Maybe I'm swayed by everyone around me too. I just want to be liked. We'll find out in the next episode. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe because we have a very fun announcement coming very soon in the next 2-ish weeks.
About the horses?
Stay tuned. The horses. See, they'd understand that if they were subscribed to Super TV Showdown up here at Patreon.com/onlystupidanswers
or
above Roxy right over there. But you can also follow us on Twitter at OnlyStupidAnswers.
Yank out the vowels from stupid.
Boom.
Props to me because I didn't mess it up. I didn't
There
step on
you
it.
go.
Yeah. You literally had to move
I just had to
yourself.
move out of the way.
Roxy, where can they find you?
Everywhere at Roxy Stryer.
At DJ Talks Trash.
At Sam Basher. And, of course, you can go to OnlyStupidAnswers.com for more podcasts that you can listen to, more videos you can watch, more merch you can put on your buddy, and so on. But, gang,
Is it
check
a
out...
buddy or a body?
Or
You
your
could also
buddy.
put it on your
You
buddy.
could put it on your buddy.
Maybe you're your own
Holidays.
buddy if you're a lonely kid like me. But let me know in the comments down below if you are lonely as well. Okay, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What an outro.